Have you ever heard of the mother of the atomic bomb? It's a title that sounds both powerful and terrifying. But what if I told you the woman given this name, Lise Meitner, never wanted anything to do with the bomb? She was actually a peace lover, totally freaked out by what was made. Today, we're diving into the incredible, often overlooked story of a true pioneer in physics, a woman who battled prejudice and betrayal to change the world of science forever. This is the story of Lise Meitner, the physicist who should have won a Nobel Prize. Born in Vienna in 1878, Lise Meitner was fascinated by science from a young age. This was a time when higher education for women was practically non-existent in Austria. But Lise was brilliant and determined. She had a passion for physics that couldn't be ignored. Her father, a lawyer, was progressive for his time and supported her ambitions. So Lise studied privately and in 1901 became one of the very few women to be admitted to the University of Vienna. She fell in love with physics, inspired by her professor, the legendary Ludwig Boltzmann. After earning her doctorate in 1906, only the second woman to do so at the university, she knew her future was in Vienna. The center of the physics universe at the time was Berlin, where the great Max Planck was teaching. So, in 1907, Lise packed her bags and moved to Berlin. But even with Planck's support, the system was stacked against her. Women weren't officially allowed to attend universities in Prussia. Planck made an exception and let her attend his lectures, but finding a place to do research was another story. Most male scientists simply wouldn't work with a woman. Then she met Otto Hahn, a chemist her own age. Hahn was different. He saw her talent and was willing to collaborate. But there was a catch. The head of the Chemistry Institute, Emil Fischer, wouldn't allow a woman in his main laboratories. He was worried her hair might catch fire, or so he said. So Lise and Otto were given a small carpenter's workshop in the basement to set up their lab. For years, Lise wasn't paid. She couldn't even use the main entrance and had to use a restroom in a nearby restaurant. It was tough to go through, but she stuck it out because she loved what she did. And what work it was! The partnership between Meitner, the physicist, and Hahn, the chemist, was a match made in scientific heaven. They were a perfect team. Lise designed the experiments, figuring out the physics, and Otto carried out the precise chemical analysis. For over 30 years, they worked side by side, making groundbreaking discoveries in the new field of radioactivity. They discovered new isotopes, and in 1917, they identified a long-lived isotope of the element protactinium. This discovery finally earned Lise some recognition. She was given her own physics section at the Kaiser Wilhelm Institute for Chemistry and a proper salary. By the 1920s, Lise Meitner was one of the leading physicists in Germany. She was a respected professor, known for her brilliant lectures and her dedication to her students. She stood at the center of the golden age of physics, in close intellectual exchange with figures like Albert Einstein and Niels Bohr. Einstein himself affectionately called her our Marie Curie. She was on top of the world. But then, the world changed. In 1933, the Nazis came to power. Lise had Jewish roots, although she was a Protestant. Initially, her Austrian citizenship offered some protection, but she watched in horror as her Jewish colleagues were fired, one by one. She refused to abandon her work, her life's work, as she called it. She stayed, hoping things would get better. They didn't. In 1938, Germany annexed Austria, and Lise's citizenship was gone. Suddenly, she was a Jewish woman trapped in Nazi Germany. Her life was in immediate danger. Her friends around the world frantically organized her escape. Niels Bohr arranged a position for her in Stockholm, and with the help of Dutch colleagues, a plan was hatched. In July 1938, with just a few small suitcases and 10 marks in her pocket, Lise Meitner snuck across the Dutch border on a train, her heart pounding with fear. She had left everything behind: her home, her friends, her career, and the research she had dedicated her life to. She found refuge in Sweden, at an institute in Stockholm. But it was a lonely and difficult time. She was 60 years old, in a foreign country, with limited resources, and a lab director who was unsupportive, possibly even prejudiced, against a female scientist. She was an outsider, isolated from the scientific community she had once led. Meanwhile, back in Berlin, Otto Hahn, along with another chemist, Fritz Strassmann, continued the work they had started with Lise. They were bombarding uranium with neutrons, trying to create heavier elements, but they were getting bizarre results. They kept finding barium, an element that was much lighter than uranium. It made no sense. Hahn was completely baffled. He wrote to Lise in Sweden, describing his confusion. He called it bursting. He wrote, "Perhaps you can come up with some fantastic explanation." And she did. During the Christmas holiday of 1938, Lise was visiting her nephew, Otto Frisch, who was also a physicist. As they walked in the snow, she read Hahn's letter. She did the calculations on scraps of paper. She remembered the liquid drop model of the nucleus, which pictured it like a wobbly drop of water. She realized that the uranium nucleus wasn't just chipping off a small piece. It was splitting in two. The bursting Hahn described was the nucleus itself breaking apart into lighter elements like barium. And in the process, it would release a tremendous amount of energy, calculated using Einstein's famous equation, E equals mc squared. Lise and her nephew had just discovered nuclear fission. This was the moment that would change the world. They quickly wrote a paper explaining their theory, which Frisch co-authored and named fission, a term borrowed from biology for cell division. The news spread like wildfire through the physics community. Scientists immediately understood the implications. If splitting one atom released energy, and that process released more neutrons that could split more atoms, you could create a chain reaction. A weapon of unimaginable power was now theoretically possible. This was happening on the eve of World War II. Lise was horrified. She was a pacifist and wanted nothing to do with military applications of her discovery. When she was invited to join the Manhattan Project in the United States, the secret project to build the atomic bomb, she flatly refused. She said, "I will have nothing to do with a bomb." Back in Germany, Otto Hahn published his chemical findings, but he downplayed Lise's crucial role. He barely mentioned their 30 years of collaboration and omitted her theoretical breakthrough that explained his results. Why? Maybe it was dangerous to credit a Jewish scientist in Nazi Germany. Maybe he was afraid. Or maybe he wanted the glory for himself. We may never know, but the outcome was the same. In 1944, the Nobel Prize in Chemistry was awarded for the discovery of nuclear fission. It went to Otto Hahn alone. Lise Meitner, the physicist who had initiated the research, co-led the team for years, and provided the essential theoretical explanation, was completely left out. Her name was erased from the story. Her friends in the physics community, like Niels Bohr, were outraged. They campaigned for her, but the Nobel Committee did not change its decision. Lise never won the Nobel Prize that she so clearly deserved. She was gracious in public, but in private letters, she expressed her deep hurt and disappointment, not just for the lack of recognition, but for what she saw as a betrayal by her friend and collaborator of 30 years, Otto Hahn. After the war, the press wrongly labeled her the mother of the atomic bomb, a title she despised. She spent the rest of her life advocating for the peaceful use of atomic energy and promoting women in science. She received many other awards and honors. Lise Meitner's story is a powerful reminder of the barriers women have faced in science and the importance of recognizing every contributor to a discovery. Her legacy isn't in a bomb, but in her unwavering dedication to truth, her incredible mind, and the path she forged for future generations of scientists. So next time you hear about nuclear fission, remember the name Lise Meitner. the woman who unlocked the power of the atom, not with a key, but with her brilliant mind and unyielding spirit. Thanks for watching. If you found this story engaging, please consider liking the video and subscribing to PastMinds for more content, exploring the minds that have shaped our understanding of reality. See you next time.